Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be talking about 5 things you should be doing while waiting for Fortnite Season 4. These are tips to help you improve at the game and as a player to better prepare you for the next season. These tips will be aimed at higher level players, but lower level players can still easily follow along. Tip number 1 is to free build. Free building obviously is where you just hop into an empty creative map and just kind of go at it. But I have a little different method that not a lot of people use. Some people use like the cranking simulator where you crank to max height and then once you hit max height it resets. But that kind of limits you when you're trying to go horizontally, which I definitely think you should be doing when free building. So instead I just load up a blank creative island, just create a new one, and then instead of starting the game you just kind of leave it as is so you still have your phone and everything. You do occasionally fly around here and there, but it's not that big of a deal. And then this way you just go until all of your memory is used up. This is 5,000 total builds before you have to delete everything. I really like to do this, and sometimes I'll just go until I have all 5,000 builds done. This is just kind of a fun way to kind of keep track of how much you're building, and I really recommend it. I really recommend also having just a bit of piece control. Like just practice taking walls and then just building, boxing up imaginary opponents and whatnot. Pretty simple but really useful practice here. Tip number 2 is to play solo squads. A lot of players struggle with game sense for fights, things like knowing an enemy's positioning and placement, as well as mechanical things like aiming, building, and editing. The proven best way to improve at fighting in Fortnite is to actually fight players. Seems simple, but it is the case. So what if we could improve our fighting 4 times as fast without spending extra time? Well, that's where solo squads is useful. Obviously, player skill level messes with improvement a lot, as well as bots, but my point still stands. You will learn how to keep track of one enemy a lot better if you're used to keeping track of 4. Tip number 3 is aim training. If you're serious about actually improving, then you should be aim training. If you're on controller, then I'd recommend creative maps, but if you're mouse and keyboard, then I'd recommend both creative maps and Kovacs. I wouldn't recommend aim labs, it's not good, and I haven't tried aim beast, so I couldn't say. A lot of players struggle with aim and it's obvious. You get nervous, your shot gets shaky, you just straight up have garbage mouse control. But it doesn't have to stay like that. Invest in Kovacs is $10 on Steam and worth every penny. I'm not paid to say this. Sink your teeth into plenty of tracking routines and some quick timing and you will notice plenty of improvement. Tip number 4. I would highly recommend fighting better players. If you are constantly just farming kills and creative on your Xbox friends, you will not improve at the game. You need to fight players better than you. This way you get pushed and are forced to learn and become better. I would highly recommend finding players in scrim discords and then doing box fights, zone wars, and realistics. If you keep losing, ask them if you can keep going until you start winning. Really try yourself and force improvement. Another way to fight better players is to play arena solos. I really enjoy arena solos because they're good fights, often against good players. Then, as the nature of ranked, the better you do means the better players you face, which means the more you improve. All around a good system for getting better at fighting and just mechanics in general. My last tip is to subscribe. It's proven to do absolutely nothing to your skill level unless you actually stay up to date with my content, then you might actually learn a thing or two. Really appreciate it. Drop a like if you really want to, and yeah, that's all I got for today. I'll see you guys next video. Thanks, man.